Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, why do I feel stuck? Everything is fine. My life is good. Why do I feel restless? Maybe you assume you're burned out. You might blame work, your schedule, or being pulled in 100 different directions because we are. But what if that's not the whole story and you're not really burned out? What if you're just bored? Today, we're talking about the difference between burnout and boredom and why they can feel very similar. And recognizing the difference might completely change what your next chapter looks like. Welcome to Second Act Simplified. This podcast is for women in midlife who are asking, what's next? Whether you're just getting into an empty nest, wondering if you still have time to pursue something for yourself, thinking about a side hustle, a hobby, or just wanting more purpose and excitement, you're in the right place. I'm Jamie, and every week we talk about practical ways to build a life that feels meaningful, energized, and truly yours. Let's get started. For a long time, I assumed feeling stuck meant I was burned out, and I blamed my schedule. I have a busy work schedule with periodic travel, and there's always something going on at home. Sometimes those things are absolutely contributing to how I feel, but sometimes there's something else happening. When I get honest with myself, I realize I'm not exhausted, I'm not burned out, I'm bored. And not bored because I have nothing to do. I'm bored with the routine. Wake up, go to work, make dinner, do your evening routine, go to bed, wake up and do it all over again. And underneath all that activity was a growing feeling that something's missing. If you've been feeling restless lately, I think there's an important question worth asking. Are you really burned out, or are you craving something new? At a first glance, burnout and boredom, they look almost the same. You can feel completely unmotivated. They both make you question your routine, your work, and even sometimes your life choices. Both can create a sense of dissatisfaction that's really hard to explain. I think many of us just assume that burnout is the problem, but the solutions are very different. Burnout requires rest, boundaries, less pressure, less overcommitting to people, and less trying to be everything to everyone. I think that's a huge problem for many women. Boredom, on the other hand, often requires challenge, creativity, growth, learning, curiosity, something to move towards. Understanding which one you're experiencing really matters. Here's some signs that you really might be burned out. Burned up shows up as physical and emotional exhaustion. You feel behind all the time. Simple tasks feel really overwhelming. You have less patience. That's a big one for me. Things you used to enjoy just start feeling like an obligation. You'll feel fatigue, a hard time concentrating, emotionally drained, increased irritability, trouble disconnecting from work. You might even feel negative or cynicism. You might have a lack of energy for activities you normally enjoy. When burnout's the issue, your mind and body are asking for recovery. So you have to start protecting your time and reducing commitments, saying no more, which is really hard for many of us. Letting go of responsibilities that don't belong to you. And there's reasons boredom is harder to recognize. Boredom doesn't look like sitting around with nothing to do. That's how we think of boredom. In fact, if you are experiencing boredom, you are probably incredibly busy. Your calendar's full, your career's probably established, your family relies on you, and from the outside to everybody else, things look great. But internally, something feels really off. Boredom in midlife disguises itself as restlessness or frustration, or a vague sense that something's missing. You might hear yourself thinking, is this really all there is? Why do I feel stuck when my life is good? Why do I keep thinking about making a change? Why do I feel uninspired? Those kinds of questions matter. They don't mean that you're ungrateful for the life that you have. They don't mean that you've failed in any way. Often they just mean you're ready for growth. There's a hidden cost of stability. You've spent decades building stability. You have your career, you've raised your kids, you have a routine, you bought a home, you've become dependable, and those are great things. But stability can become stagnation. Every day starts to look the same. Notice I said that earlier. I was tired of the same routine, and every week follows the same pattern, and every year feels similar to the one that you just had. Life just kind of feels flat. That doesn't mean you need to just have this massive change and blow everything out. Doesn't mean you have to quit your job. It really just might mean that your brain is craving something new and something interesting. We are wired for progress. You enjoy learning, you enjoy creating, You enjoy making something and you enjoy feeling challenged. Without all of those experiences, life just becomes repetitive, even when you are doing well. Achievers struggle with this. And this is really true if you spent decades accomplishing things. You've possibly earned degrees, built a career, been promoted, raised a family, and supported that family, and created this really great stability for your household. For years, there was always something else. There was a mountain to climb, a goal to achieve. Then you realize you've accomplished so many of the things that you dreamed about and you spent years dreaming about. Even though you're grateful, you're wondering, okay, now what? That's an unsettling feeling. You may interpret that feeling as dissatisfaction. You might feel guilty about it or think, oh my gosh, I'm being selfish. But that's not really what it is. It's just a sign that growth simply looks different now. I remember riding around with a friend of mine, and we used to look at houses together and be like, this is what we want. And we want to have a good career. And we want to have a family. And we want to live in a nice neighborhood. We wanted those things. And now I laugh to myself. I'm like, we have those things. We did what we said we were going to do. Now it's like, what's next? Here are some signs that you might be bored. Boredom in midlife usually isn't about having nothing to do. It's really more about you don't feel challenged or energized or maybe even inspired. You might be bored if you feel restless even though you're really busy, or you keep thinking about, I need something more. You daydream about projects, businesses, hobbies, the possibilities of things that you can do. You've stopped learning new things. The routines just feel repetitive. You spend more time consuming than creating. One of the biggest clues in this is you're not tired really. You might feel tired sometimes, but you're not tired or burned out. You're uninspired, and that's the difference. If you're still not sure, here's a way to tell the difference. Imagine someone offered you something that genuinely excited you. Maybe it's a creative project, a business idea, a class you always wanted to take that you haven't had the opportunity to do. Maybe you've been wanting to volunteer somewhere, take a trip that you've dreamed about. You just want a chance to do something new. What happens? Do you feel exhausted and want to push that right away? Or do you feel a spark? If you feel a spark, boredom is winning over burnout. You may simply need more possibilities. Do these statements sound like you? I spend a lot of time thinking about new ideas. I enjoyed learning, and I wish I had more opportunities to do it. I imagine starting a hobby, a project, or a business. I miss having a goal that was just for me. I'm excited by all the possibilities. I want something that's mine outside of work and outside of my family responsibilities. If several of these resonated you, boredom is part of your story. So what does renewal look like? It often starts with something small, and many of my episodes talk about starting small. Maybe you learn photography, you join a hiking group, learn a new language, start volunteering somewhere, write a book, trying a creative new hobby, exploring a side hustle, doing a solo day trip. The activity isn't as important as what it creates. If you're starting to feel curiosity, momentum, excitement is so important. Progress, a reminder that you're still evolving, that you're still growing, you're still becoming who you are meant to be. Honestly, sometimes it could be both boredom and burnout. You might really feel tired. Work is demanding. Life can be really hectic. Responsibilities from every corner have just piled up. But at the same time, you're still craving something that belongs to you. If you're entering a phase where you're both bored and burned out, set a goal and have something that energizes you. The answer isn't always going to be, I'm doing less, but you need to create space for something else. If you're really looking to do something new, you have to set a time that side and let go of something that doesn't need to be done. Instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what am I missing? Maybe the answer is rest. It might be boundaries. It might even be more sleep. But maybe it's creativity, curiosity, growth, connection, and overall you just want a challenge. You need something to look forward to again. Truly, if you are exhausted, please honor that because rest is really important. But if you've been feeling restless, uninspired, or stuck, don't automatically assume that you're burned out. You might just be ready for a challenge, and that's not a problem to solve. It's actually the beginning of your next chapter. Sometimes it's important to realize that you don't need to do less. You're just ready for something more. Before we go, I wanted to share 2 exciting milestones for the podcast. Second Act Simplified was recently recognized by Million Podcasts as one of the best 20 Second Act podcasts in the United States. We came in at number 4 on the list. I was also honored to receive a thoughtful review from Tal Gur at Elevate Society, who highlighted the mission of helping women navigate midlife with intention and possibility. As always, thank you for listening, sharing the episode, leaving reviews, and being part of the community. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to sign up for our newsletter for more encouragement, ideas, and inspiration for your next chapter. Until next time, remember that you don't have to start over. You just have to keep growing.